Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving into the incredible story of insulin. It's this tiny little protein that, well, it holds the key to life for millions of people. It's truly one of the biggest wins in medical history. So to really get why this discovery was such a big deal, you have to picture what things were like just over 100 years ago. If you got diagnosed with type 1 diabetes back then, it was a death sentence. No other way to put it. Your life expectancy was suddenly measured in months or even weeks. Your body just wasted away because it couldn't use any of the energy from the food you were eating. See, at its heart, diabetes is a massive energy management problem. Your body is just swimming in sugar that it can't access, and that leads to all sorts of devastating issues. And it all happens because one very specific hormone just isn't doing its job. So, okay, let's meet the molecule at the very center of this whole story. And here it is. This is insulin. It's what's called a peptide hormone, and it's made in your pancreas. You can think of it as the master controller for your body's entire energy system. I mean, its main job is to manage how you handle carbs, fats, and proteins. Now, the key thing to remember here is that insulin is your body's main building hormone. So after you eat a meal, insulin is the one that tells your cells, hey, grab that glucose from the blood and pack it away for later. It's literally telling your body to build up its energy reserves. It's like topping off your fuel tank. But, it doesn't do this job all by itself. Insulin is actually one half of this incredible partnership. Its counterpart is a hormone called glucagon, and it does the exact opposite. When your blood sugar gets too low, glucagon is the one that says, okay, time to release some of that stored energy. So together, they're in this constant, delicate dance, this balancing act, to keep your energy levels right where they need to be. Okay, so how does this actually work? Let's get into the nitty-gritty. How does this tiny little molecule pull off the huge job of getting sugar out of your blood and into your cells where it belongs? So it's this really elegant 5-step process. You've got the insulin binding to the cell, which kicks off this whole chain reaction inside. And that signal tells these special transporters to pop up to the surface and basically open the gates for glucose to come in. But honestly, the easiest way to think about it is like this. Insulin is the key. It doesn't go inside the house, right? It just fits into the lock on the outside of the cell door. And when it turns, that lock sends a signal to open the door and whoosh, all that glucose energy can finally rush inside. And what's so cool is you can actually see this whole process playing out right here. Look at this chart. Every time there's a meal, you see that red line, the blood glucose, go up. And right on its heels, you see the blue line, that's insulin, spiking up to handle it. It's the body's natural response, bringing those sugar levels right back down. And this really shows you just how powerful insulin is. It's not just about sugar. Look at this list. Insulin tells your body to make and store fat. It tells it to stop breaking down muscle protein. It even forces your cells to pull in amino acids to build and repair. It is, without a doubt, the master building hormone of the body. For the longest time, this powerful stuff was a complete mystery. And the story of how it was finally discovered, well, it's a classic. It's got everything. A flash of genius, sheer grit and determination, and yeah, a little bit of good old-fashioned luck. This whole journey really kicked off way back in the 1800s. You had researchers slowly putting the pieces together. First, a guy identifies these strange little clusters of cells in the pancreas, the islets. Then someone else figures out that the pancreas itself is somehow connected to diabetes. All these little clues built up until everything just exploded in this intense, frantic period of discovery in a lab in Toronto. And the team behind it all, a pretty unlikely duo. You had Frederick Banting, a young surgeon with this wild, brilliant idea, and his assistant was Charles Best, who was just an undergrad student at the time. And get this, he only got the job because he won a coin toss against a classmate. A coin toss! It might be the single luckiest coin flip in the history of medicine. So here was Banting's big idea, the one he famously scribbled down in the middle of the night. He figured the reason no one could isolate this stuff from the pancreas was because the pancreas's own digestive juices were destroying it. So his plan was genius in its simplicity. Just tie off the ducts that release those juices. Let that part of the organ just wither away, leaving the precious islets behind, pure and ready for extraction. And the results? I mean, they were absolutely miraculous. Just look at this chart for Elizabeth Hughes, one of the very first patients. Before she got the extract, her body was just riddled with sugar. And then, look what happens after the injections start. The levels just plummet. For patients who were literally on death's door, it was like being brought back to life. Okay, so they had this crude extract that worked wonders. But how did we get from that to the refined medicine we have today? Let's jump forward and look at how insulin has totally transformed over the last century. It's pretty amazing, right? What started in this tiny university lab, using extracts from dogs and later cattle, has now become this massive global industry. We've gone from that early animal-based stuff to the super pure, much safer, and way more effective insulin that's available today. The real game changer was this thing called recombinant DNA technology. It sounds complicated, but the idea is brilliant. Scientists basically took the human gene for making insulin and spliced it into everyday bacteria, like E. coli. They turned these little microbes into tiny, perfect insulin-making factories. And this was huge. Not only did it mean we got insulin that was identical to our own, so no more allergic reactions, but it also meant we could make tons of it, reliably. You just can't do that when you're relying on animal pancreases. So this discovery changed the world. It saved millions of lives. What do you think they charged for the patent?
$1. They sold the patent for a single dollar. In what has to be one of the greatest acts of public service in science, Banting, Best, and the whole team handed over the patent. Their reason was so simple and so powerful. They basically said, this belongs to the world. They didn't want anyone to get a monopoly and profit from it. It was a gift.
And that right there leaves us with a really tough, complicated question for today. This incredible discovery was literally gifted to the world for a dollar, with the specific wish that it would be accessible to everyone. So why is it that today, insulin has become a symbol of the fierce debate over how much life-saving medicine should cost? It's a true medical miracle, but it's also a deeply modern paradox.